Good evening, 8th graders. This is Ms. Hollenbeck with Lesson 10 for Vocabulary. This lesson begins on page 39, and it is connected to context lesson, I think it's context lesson number 5, and that's found on page 167 through 172. Once again, that's 167 through page 172. All right, and it'll be due on Friday. So let's begin. Our first word is affable. Affable. Now, it's an adjective, but in the sentence on this very page, they give you the noun form, affability. Okay. Affable is a word that you would use to describe a very friendly person, a pleasant person. That person is affable. They are friendly, outgoing, and just very, very pleasant. All right, an affable person. A friendly person will show much affability. Okay, so that's our first word, affable. Remember, it's an adjective. Okay. Bolster. Bolster can be a noun or a verb. Let's talk about the noun form. In a mine, if you've ever been to like the mines, in some grade you went to visit the Argo mine or something, you may have seen a big thick board that would, or board that would go across the frame, top of the entrance, that would bolster or support that the tunnel from caving in. All right, so that's a bolster. Anything that adds support so that something won't cave in. Okay, some sort of framework or big old piece of wood at the top that would keep the ceiling from caving in. Okay. To bolster means to support or uplift. When we study Henry V, he gives many speeches which are intended to bolster the courage of his soldiers, to encourage, to strengthen, to reinforce his soldiers' courage. Okay, so he gives speeches to bolster their courage. Okay, that's bolster. The third word, expletive. Expletive is a noun. Now, an expletive is a bad word used to curse. Okay, used in a bad way. Okay, there are words that the word itself isn't a bad word, but it becomes an expletive when it's being used as a profanity, all right, as a curse word. Okay, in our studies in literature, the running pun on Bottom's name. Well, that word can be used as an expletive when you're name calling, all right, or that sort of thing. And so expletives, most of them are not in themselves, but there are some profanities that are just expletives. They could be nothing else. Okay, but it's a profanity. Okay. One way, and you want to remember, you are judged. One way that you're judged is by the language you use. And so, keeping in mind that the use of expletives, anybody can use a four-letter word, right? So, finding something to say when you get into those predicaments. Usually I just say expletive. All right. and that covers them all. Just an expletive. Okay. Next word. I'm hearing a weird sound. I don't know what it is. Some weird sound. Anyway, outdoors. And now my dog is going to start barking. Be quiet. Yeah, I know. Okay. Our next word, there's some, well, I guess this is timely. Our next word is furor. Furor is a noun, and it's a big commotion. There's some furor happening outside that's causing my dog to become very agitated. I don't know what it is, and I can't see anything, so I don't know. Some sort of furor, some commotion. The word we get that you've heard before in the word furor is fury. Okay, and we know furors are furies. They infuriate. Okay, some sort of commotion, some sort of upheaval. That's what a furor is. Okay, different spelling from der Führer. Okay. There is that weird noise again. I don't know what that weird noise is. Anyway, I'll have to go investigate pretty soon, but not right now. My son brought home a rat. Maybe it's the rat on the wheel. I don't know. We'll see. A rat he named Melvin. I don't know. Idiomatic is the next word. Idiomatic is an adjective. Now, I'm not sure if we used the word idiom before. I have, or if we defined it in here. I've used that word before, and we have written using idioms. All right. An idiom is a saying that's used by a particular group of people. An old saying, you might think, your grandparents say that, or Mr. Schoaf says that all the time, dead as a doornail or something, that's an idiom. Okay. Idiomatic means distinctive saying, something that's unique to a particular language or a particular group of people and their speech, okay, and the language that they use. Let me explain this better. Down in the South, they would use idioms that are unique to them. They have specific idiomatic statements in their language. Y'all, okay, that's a idiomatic statement. We know exactly where they're from based upon that word usage, that expression. You know what I mean? So it's something distinctive or characteristic about a language. Okay, that it could tell. Oh, it's like a colloquialism. It could tell. You could tell like where they're from. Okay, just by the expressions they use. Sometimes you could tell their age or, experience, just by the idiomatic statements that they make. Okay. Idiomatic. Intangible. Intangible is an adjective. That was in 7th grade, where we talked about symbols in literature. And I defined it as something intangible, or a symbol was a tangible something that represents an intangible. Like the flag, we could touch it and, feel it, that sort of thing. But what it represents we can't touch. All we can do is feel the effects of it. Okay, and that is like liberty and freedom. That's what the flag represents. Okay, so if something is intangible, you cannot decipher it or you, perceive it with any of your senses. All right, you might feel the effects of it, but you cannot hold love. It's intangible. Okay, you can only feel the effects of it. Okay. Christmas is intangible. We like to think that it's embodied in all the tangible things, the tree, the lights, the this, the that, but it's an intangible idea. Okay? Reciprocate. Reciprocate is a verb. Okay? And the way I remember reciprocate is in that little idiom, one good, or a saying, it's really not an idiom, one good turn deserves another. Means, you do something nice for someone, they do something nice for you. You reciprocate. Okay? So my neighbor at Thanksgiving, she always brings me something yummy. This year she brought me a pumpkin cheesecake. I reciprocate. She wants my fudge. Okay? I reciprocate. I give her the fudge. Okay? That's just our understanding, and it's fun. Okay? So reciprocate is you return a behavior for a behavior. Okay? Sometimes it can be negative. We try. It's hard not to, but to live the life that Christ desires for us. We don't return evil for evil. He tells us this in Scripture. Don't do that. But love your enemy. So reciprocate with the opposite of what they give you. That's tough. That's tough, but that's what we're called to. Subterfuge. What an awesome word. Subterfuge. It's just fun to say. Subterfuge is a noun. All right? And it's one that's you can deposit in your word bank, and it makes you sound really smart. An example of this, I went to see Skyfall on Saturday, yesterday. Oh, boy, it was intense. Oh my gosh. I think I covered my eyes for half of it. I was all worried. That villain, man, he was creepy. Anyway, a subterfuge is trickery, all right? Especially tricks to deceive, all right? So espionage, spy stuff, there's a lot of subterfuge happening in spy stuff, okay? And the villain, he's caught, and you're like, oh, okay, whew. But then there's a major subterfuge to get him, and he escapes and wreaks all sorts of havoc. Okay? So subterfuge is a trick, especially to deceive and having to do with escaping bad situations. Typical in James Bond movies, right? Tawdry. Tawdry is an adjective. Well, remember that outfit I was describing a while back, the ostentatious outfit with the fishnet stockings and the thigh-high boots and the neon colors and miniskirt and stuff like that. Not only would it be ostentatious, but it could be described as tawdry. Okay, it looks, it's showy, but cheap. Okay, not of good taste, not well, and this is one of my pet peeves, and something I think is pretty tawdry, is when older women dress way young, way young. I'm not talking just something cute, a cool jean jacket that would look good on any age, but I'm talking, oh, I saw this at the, when I went to the theater. Oh, you know, elderly lady wearing sequins pants. I mean, I don't know what age sequins pants would look good on, maybe a 3-year-old, but it looked tawdry. Okay, it was showy, but it looked cheap. Yeah. Anyway, and just kind of way out there. Okay. Yeah. Fishnet stockings and sequins pants. I don't know. Is there an appropriate time to wear those? I don't know. Our last word is wistful. And boy, is that, did I tell you tawdry was an adjective? It is. Sorry. So is wistful. Wistful is also an adjective. That F-U-L, always an adjective. And there's a direct synonym, which makes it easy to remember, and that's wishful. Oh boy, there are a lot of wistful children right about now at Christmas time, right? Looking at the toys wistfully. Okay. Oh, I want that. What was it? A Red Ryder BB gun for the Christmas Story. You'll shoot your eye out. You know that one. Yeah, wistful, as he looked into the shop window to see that Red Ryder BB gun. Okay, a wistful look came upon his face. So it's a yearning, it's a, oh, wishful thinking sort of thing. Okay, that's wistful. Directly related to wishful. Okay. All right, quick little trip over to page 167. I'm going to take a quick look over the article just to point out any that I think might that I think you should watch for. The typical synonym in the sentence before and the sentence after, that's what I saw a lot of. And also watch out for that opposite meaning. Some of the contextual clues might be however or not. Look for those words, and then you're going to be given the opposite meaning, all right, to help you decipher what the word truly means. I'm going to check and see very quickly, however. It's looking to me like it's mainly there's one where there is an example given. In fact, a couple of examples. You'll pick them out right away. You'll see it because it's like if I wanted to explain what black tea was. I'd give you an example of black tea, like Earl Grey or English breakfast tea. Those are black teas, okay, as opposed to green tea or white tea. Okay, I'd give you an example. There's an example of that in here. Okay, so watch for that. Other than that, oh, I do see one opposite. Watch for an opposite. I do not see, just very quickly here, any similes or metaphors. I did in the 7th grade lesson, but not in this one. So I think you're good to go. All right? We'll talk to you soon, 8th graders.